Hi, my name is Michelle Adiwangsa from the Australian National University, and I'll be presenting our paper titled Exploring Opportunities for Augmenting Homes to Support Exercising. Exercising is important for staying healthy. It can improve energy levels, quality of life, and mental well-being. However, there are many factors that could prevent people's willingness or ability to exercise. Exercising at home can help people overcome some of these barriers. Exercise video games, or exergames, have been used to increase physical activity levels at home. Because exergaming is an enjoyable activity for multiple age groups, and since the perceived enjoyment of an activity is related to the amount of time allocated to the activity, exergames have the potential for sustained exercising participation. However, popular exergaming systems are not always safe or inclusive, especially for some groups of people. For example, the Nintendo Wii handheld controller and balance board can be unsuitable for people with motor limitations or higher risk of falling. In addition, exergames could be made more immersive to further improve motivation and enjoyment when exercising. Augmented reality head-mounted displays have the potential for facilitating more immersive and accessible exercising or exergaming experiences at home. They can allow users to quickly identify 3D poses in space from any angle, which can be beneficial for exercising. Hand gestures can also be recognized as input, which can reduce accessibility issues related to using controllers. And notably, it allows users to still see the real environment, unlike virtual reality technologies. This means that the risk of falling, tripping, and hitting objects at home can be reduced, even with any dynamic change in the environment. At the same time, users can be provided with a psychological feeling of safety due to being in a familiar environment. Despite the potential benefits of using AR HMDs to increase physical activity levels at home, there is limited research investigating the design of such systems to promote exercising, let alone exergaming at home. Previous research investigating how AR HMDs can be used to promote exercising or exergaming has mostly focused on specific health-related problems, without exploring how home objects and environments can be fully utilized to facilitate the exercise. There is a lack of foundational research investigating the wide range of exercises that can be supported through AR HMDs in home environments and the different ways home elements may support these exercises. To address these gaps, we identified the following research questions to explore how AR HMDs can be used to support exercising at home. RQ1, what kind of exercises are suitable for homes in an AR environment? And RQ2, what home objects can be augmented to facilitate exercising and how can they be augmented? To answer our research questions, we employed a participatory design approach involving semi-structured interviews with 17 potential users and 2 senior physiotherapists. Interviews were conducted online. We seek to understand how people exercise or would like to exercise at home, and how that could be supported in an AR environment. Qualitative data from semi-structured interviews was analyzed with thematic analysis. From interviews with potential users, we identified 7 themes split into 2 categories. The first is related to suitable home-based exercises, and the second involved home objects, augmenting homes for exercising, and motivational elements beyond augmentation. From interviews with the senior physiotherapists, we found 2 themes relating to how exercises need to be tailored, and home objects that can be used to support home exercises. Based on analysis of all of our teams, we developed 10 design recommendations for designers or researchers aiming to develop home-based exercising experiences using AR HMDs. We present our recommendations in 3 categories, in descending order of priority. The exercises or the use cases must first be determined before deciding which home objects to augment and how to augment these home objects. For our first recommendation, we recommend that home-based exercises performed in augmented reality should be mostly stationary to avoid breaking objects at home, injuring the person, and disturbing others. This includes exercises such as strength-based exercises, flexibility exercises, martial arts like Tai Chi, or light aerobic activities. Next, home-based exercises should use minimal special equipment to save cost and storage space. For example, exercises only requiring the user's body or yoga mat are preferred. This is to reduce the financial barriers to exercising and especially relevant for people living in smaller homes. Home-based exercises should incorporate both structure and novelty to keep the individual engaged and motivated. Our interviews with both potential users and the physiotherapist showed that providing structured exercises can be beneficial, as having instructions to follow can help people to exercise correctly at home. However, when the exercise starts feeling too repetitive, people would start losing motivation too. This indicates that both structure and novelty should be incorporated to facilitate effective home exercises. Based on the insights gained from interviews with potential users and physiotherapists, we recommend that structure and novelty can be achieved with a video library of exercises that contains details of the expected exercise. Exercises labeled with the goal or outcome can provide users with information on how they can tailor their exercise program and keep it interesting, while still retaining the desired benefits. For example, push-ups can be chosen instead of bench presses for chest exercises. Home-based exercises should be individually tailored to the person's evolving needs, abilities, and interests. Exercises should be highly personalized, as an exercise that's really good for one person may not be suitable for another person. Similarly, an exercise that may be good today might not be suitable for the same person in 3 weeks. The exercise should also be interesting and motivating for the person. For example, people who like to garden can pick up appropriately sized pots repeatedly for resistance exercises. Moving on to the second category, we recommend that light to moderately heavy objects, such as water bottles and cans, can be used for weightlifting exercises at home. However, not every heavy object can be used for weightlifting. There were discussions among participants on using heavier objects, such as rice bags, for weightlifting, but there were concerns about the safety and visibility of that exercise. Furniture, such as tables and chairs, can be used as support for exercising. This also includes fixtures like kitchen counters, bathtubs, and staircases. For example, the back of a couch can be used for stretching, and stepping up and down the stairs can be done as a knee exercise and to improve coordination and strength. Elastic objects such as stocking or luggage rope can be used for resistance-type exercises. While many home objects can be used for exercising, we should note that home objects will not always be as effective as exercise tools and equipment. For example, using a towel over a door frame instead of a proper pulley system for shoulder exercises may not be as effective. Therefore, it is important to set the level of expectation of users when using home objects to exercise at home. Thus, we recommend that where necessary, small, affordable, specialized tools can be purchased, ensuring that the person can exercise more effectively without compromising cost and storage space. For example, a proper elastic band costs around $10 and they take up almost no space at home. The final category involves discussions on how home objects can be augmented to facilitate a more engaging exercising experience at home. Home objects can be augmented into their equivalent exercising tools or equipment, or other personally motivating objects, depending on the user's preference. For example, a water bottle can be augmented to look like a dumbbell for weightlifting exercises, or other objects the user personally find motivating, such as their pet cat. Finally, nearby home objects not directly used for exercising can still be augmented to further enhance immersion for exercising. For example, not only can the water bottle be augmented into a dumbbell, a nearby book rack can also be augmented into a gym rack. However, designers should be careful not to over-augment the home environment and overload the users. It is important to tailor augmentation based on each exercise. Our interviews also revealed that home-based exercising could benefit from motivational elements beyond augmentation, including game elements and social elements. For example, participants imagined earning golden coins when performing jumping exercises, or having virtual friends in an AR environment that would motivate them to exercise. Although this finding does not answer the two initial research questions, they can serve as additional insights for future research aiming to transform AR exercising into AR exergaming. In terms of the limitation of our study, there may be potential bias as most of our participants were young adults, and the needs and preferences of other age groups may be underreported. There was also a lack of insight regarding how augmentation can be tailored depending on the exercise, and finally there is a risk of coder and experimenter bias. Future work can involve more conversations with relevant stakeholders, including exercise-related professionals, experienced AR developers, and exergame designers. Future research should investigate how augmentation can be tailored depending on the exercise, how game elements can be incorporated, and finally, explore how the research can be expanded to other locations beyond homes, such as a clinic.